All right. So, like we discussed the other day, we have to learn first what is SQL before we proceed to any other concepts of Power BI or Excel. Okay. So, do you have any idea about SQL or it's completely new to you?
I have some basic idea, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, we use SQL basically to connect to any database, right? Connect, when I say connecting to database, it means that we can perform certain activities, okay, in connection to the database. For example, the database can be anything. There are various types, right? So first thing, are you all aware of these concepts, like what is a database, what is data? Yes, can we assume you're aware, or we can just start off with the definitions if you're not comfortable?
No, ma'am. I don't have any idea.
You don't have, okay. So first let's go through some concepts before we get into SQL. Okay. First of all, what is SQL? It stands for Structured Query Language. Okay. So when we say structured query language, this query language is like any other programming language that is designed to interact with a database. Now, when I say a database, what is database? It will be, in simple terms, if I have to tell, a database is a collection of various tables, views, okay, there can be stored procedures. So it's a collection of various components that handle data. When I say database, it is like, you can imagine like a container which will hold all the data, and this data will not be unstructured. Okay, it will be in a structured manner when we arrange it. Okay, for example, let me show you. I'll share my screen so that you can understand it better. So whenever we are storing any information which is called as data in a structured manner, that will be called as a database. Is that clear? That first concept of database, is it clear for you?
Yes, ma'am.
So from now on, we'll use this term a lot. What is a database? What is data? Data can be any information that you're storing in tables, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, now let's come to, let me know once you see my screen. Is it visible?
No, ma'am.
Not yet. Should be visible now. Can you confirm, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Thank you. So, for our practice sake, just to start off, we will use this link. I'll paste that in chat, okay? So, W3 Schools, I'm not sure how much you are aware, but it's quite a familiar website. I'll paste that into the chat so that you can do your practice, okay? So, this will be like an online database for us, which we can practice SQL in, okay? So we first started with the database. Okay, so after database, like I said, within the database we'll have a lot of tables, and each of these tables will have data related to whatever. It's like, suppose we have two tables. Okay, first table, if it is showing student information, second table, for example, it can show subjects, okay, and scores or marks. So what happens, we have two tables, right? First table I said it will have student information. When I say student information, it can have many columns like the student number, student name, right? And any other details which will identify the student. Let's take the Excel first. I will show you the tables and we'll then proceed with SQL. Now I said this is table 1, for example. Is the SQL screen visible to you?
I'm only W3 school screen visible.
Okay, I'll share full screen otherwise. Now it should be visible. Right? SQL should be up now.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Now we are imagining or looking at two tables for now so that you can get used with the concepts. Now this table I will mark it here. This table we can just keep it here. Okay. So this is table 1 and this is table 2. Now first one I said it is student information and the second table will be student marks. I took this example so that you can easily understand tables can be anything in real time. Okay. So when I say table 1 student information, it will have the student number, it will have the name, it can have the course detail, for example, course that they took, and any more columns. Say column 4, 5, just to start off. And here you will have some data. Student number can be 1001. Name can be student 1. And course can be course 1. These are all just example data, okay? Keeping it very generic. Then hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, ma. Sorry, I had to go on mute. So this is the table. Okay. I'm just hoping that the screen is still visible. Okay. So we have first table, like I said, this is the student details, and here it will be student marks. Okay. I'm sorry, there was some noise. I had to mute. I'm sorry for that again. Okay. Fine. So coming back, we are looking at the first table, which is student information. These are the columns. When I say columns, this one is the first column, this is second column, and it goes on like that. Okay. And same again with table 2, you'll have multiple columns. When I say columns, this vertical placement of data is called as columns. When I say rows, this particular entry, for example, this is row number 3. Okay, then this is row number 5. So horizontally, when we are looking at data, that is a row. Vertically, when we are looking at data, it's a column. That is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, if I say, for example, I want to look at the student, uh, for example, student 1002. I want to see all the information for student 1002. Then what we will do? We will highlight this. We'll come here 1002, all the information of this student in this row. This is the row that is for 1002. Okay, then next, when I say if I want to see 1005 student details, then I'll come here, I'll highlight all of this. So what we are doing is SQL will do the same job for us. We have to specify what data we want to see, and then it will go into the database, it will go to the table, point that particular student number, and it will get all the details that we ask for. Okay, so that's called as retrieving data from SQL. So now SQL, we can do a lot of things, not just writing queries. So first we'll start with these concepts. Not these are basic queries, we'll just come to that in few minutes. Okay, so what is SQL? Like we said, it's a structured query language. Okay, what it allows is it will allow us to access a database and also to manipulate. When we say access, accessing database is to fetch data from the database. Okay, whatever tables we have, we can just retrieve or fetch data. Manipulating database means in the database there will also be operations like inserting data into the database, deleting the data from the database, or if existing data is there, we can just make some modifications or corrections on it. That is called as manipulating the database. Okay, so what did we say? We can insert data, means we can enter new data into the database, we can delete or we can remove some data, or modify existing data. Okay, it's just like how new students will keep getting added to a course, for example. That is called as inserting data. Suppose someone opted out from the course, then it is called deleting the data from the table or the database. And for an existing student, if they have changed from course 1 to course 2, for example, that is called as modifying data. Clear? Is that clear, Shravanti? And
Yes, ma'am.
yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
if you have any questions, you can just stop me. Okay, and I can revisit that topic. So this is the definition of SQL, what it allows to do, and what is SQL. Then what other things can we do? Like I said, you can retrieve data by executing queries against a database. When I say queries, you'll understand what is query. Any SQL statement that we write using SQL commands will be an SQL query. Okay, then you can retrieve data from the database. We just covered this, we're just going through again. Inserting records into the database, can update records in the database, means to modify an existing information, deleting the records, and this was up till uh, handling queries and all that, data insertion, updation, deletion. Next, you can completely create a new database using SQL. You can create new tables in the database, you can create stored procedures, you can create views, and setting permissions on the tables or procedures and views. These are some terms that you will see very often. Tables, procedures, and views. Tables is nothing but the entity of rows and columns with the data. That is a table. Okay, when we say procedure, it will be a big sequence of SQL queries. So that is called as one procedure. Then view is nothing but it will be built on top of a table. Okay, so view is like uh, the secondary table wherein you will write some conditions in the table and then create another table from it. That's a view. Okay, It's more like a virtual table. If I have to tell, exact definition is virtual table. You will understand that shortly. Okay, nothing to worry about at the moment. First, we have to understand. Uh, yeah, this is one more concept you will see a lot outside when you hear. So RDBMS, that is, it stands for Relational Database Management System. Okay, so this again will work along with SQL. Okay, and there are various other types of data management systems. Relational is the most common used with SQL. Okay, why this term relational comes up is you will be able to relate one table with another in this database. Okay, any questions on this one?
Ma'am,
So before we go into select, we have to first understand what are the different types of SQL commands we will have. Okay, I think it should be somewhere here. Okay, never mind. So in SQL, what you will have is something called as DDL, DML, and DCL. These are three types what you will see. Okay. So DDL will stand for Data Definition Language. DML stands for Data Manipulation Language. And DCL will be Data Control Language. So what each of these means is whenever we are working on any database, okay, we may not be involved directly in all the definition language, this part of it, but you need to know what it does. So first, if an empty database is there has to be something within the database, right? First, how you create the database, you will how next is you'll create some tables in it. After creating tables, you'll put data into the tables, correct? And after inserting data into the table, you will always have these operations like updating data, deleting data, selecting data. Okay, after all this is done, you'll have something called as how much control we should give for each table. Who can access what table? We cannot allow someone to randomly go and delete some data in production, correct? That's not correct. So how much access which person will have, what role should be assigned, all that. So these are the three concepts we will see. So data definition language means anything that will define the data. Okay, defining, when I say, these are some commands which will fall into these three categories. Okay, create, drop, uh, I think create, drop, delete will be there. Delete will come in manipulation. Then create and drop for now. We'll start with data definition. Manipulation, select. Start. Update. Okay, let's see it here so that you don't get confused. DDL commands. Yes, this is what I was talking for. When I say DDL, see, we have create, we have drop, alter, truncate. These are several commands you will see in data definition language. Create keyword is used to create the table within the database. Okay. And drop table is to drop an entire table. Drop, when I say drop, it means it will delete the complete table from the database. Okay. Alter, it is to alter the structure of the table. Means you can add some new columns. Okay, if a table is already selected and created and then you realize that you have to add one more column to it, then you can do that using alter command. Truncating is to remove all the records from the table. When I say records, for example, if the table has 10 student information, using truncate, you can remove all the 10 rows, but the table structure will be there. Table will not get deleted. In drop, the table itself will be removed. Okay. In truncate, only the rows will be removed. The table will be there. Comment is to add any extra comments on the table so that you can identify what the table is for, the description and all that. Rename is to rename your existing table name to new table. These things anyone on the SQL admin side can do, okay, or anyone who is working extensively on database will use. But for I think for your level, it's just enough if you have an idea of these commands, okay. Maybe from the interview perspective or something, they can ask you what is create, what is drop and alter. The rest they might mostly not ask. These keywords are okay. These are actually called as commands. The definitions are clear. Anything you want to revisit? Mm-hmm. Yes, Bindu, Shravanti.
No, ma'am.
It will be a little new to you because it's the first day, but as we are keeping on and on with the classes, as we keep going on, you will quite get comfortable with it. It's just that these commands you should be aware. Create and drop, alter, these three are quite important. So you have to get proper hands on. If you feel that you didn't understand some part of it, I can repeat it for you. Okay, can we move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the next thing, which is the thing that the next command that you'll see every day from now on, is this command, which is called as select. Okay, select will come under DQL. Okay, data query language. Select means, like I said, whenever I want to see one row of data or one student information data, using the select command, I can retrieve all that information. Okay, how we will do that is, let's go into SQL. Now this is one table name, like how I showed you customer information. Like look at this part of the screen, okay, the right side. We have a sample database online. Okay, this is our database. What does my database look like? It has the name of the table. It has the number of records in it. Means how many rows are there in each of the table. So how many tables do I have here? This is 3, 6, 8. 8 tables. This database has 8 tables. And each of these tables have these many records. Means customer table has 91 records. When I say 91 records, it means it has 91 customers information. Categories table. These are all table names, okay? Categories table has 8 records. Employee table has 10 records and so on. Fine. This is how the structure of database will look like. Very simple, but in real time it will be slightly different. You can still make out what is the database, what is the table name, all these things you can make out, okay? So a basic select statement will look something like this. We will always begin with select, okay, what I want to select. First thing, if I put star, it means select all information from the table. Okay, that's the syntax. If I say select star, what do I want to select? I'm selecting star. From where we should select? From table name. Okay, from table name. This is the syntax. Now which table out of all these tables, which table we want to select? We will give the table name in the same case. Okay, customers. That's my first table. When I did select star from customers, I click on run SQL. What did it do? As soon as I clicked on run SQL, it gave me number of records 91, which is exactly what you see here, 91 records. Then, since I used select star, what it did, it gave me all the records, all columns and all records. These are all the columns now: customer ID, customer name, contact name, address, city, and it goes on. All the columns, all 91 records you will see here up till the end. This is the last record. Got it? So what did we do? From the database, we selected all the information from the table. Fine? Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a very basic SQL statement. Now what you have done is you have written a query. This is called a query. This is called an SQL statement. Both are the same. We have written a very basic SQL query. We don't have to always write SQL star. It will depend on customer requirement or what project we are working on. Based on those requirements, our queries will change. Suppose I say, I don't want to use all the columns. I want only one or two columns. Suppose I say I don't want all. I want only two columns. I want only customer ID, comma, customer name, right? So, two columns. What did I do? Instead of star, I selected two columns from customers table. Now see how this will change. I'm just clicking on the run SQL, okay? What happened now? All the columns are gone. Only what I selected here in the select statement, what I give, only those are coming up. Two columns, customer ID and customer name. All 91 records. Did you understand the difference?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? And like that, whatever columns you want, you can keep adding using a comma or fourth column. Now, if you want to see what all columns are there in this table, you can do a on this. Again, select star. All the columns came up. So in your practice today, you can try doing select star from these tables. Then you can try selecting particular columns from each table. Now, if I say city, I want only city and customer ID. City, comma, in what order you're defining, the same order it will come up. Now run SQL. What happened? It came in the same order, right? All 91 will be there. And so select star from customer. Similarly, if I want to see what all information is there in the categories table, how do I write that? Can you all tell it out? Can you try?
Ma'am, can you repeat question once again?
Same like customer table. I want to retrieve info. How do we write that?
Ma'am, your voice is breaking, ma'am.
Voice is breaking. Okay, fine. I'm saying that second table. Now instead of customers table, I'll use the categories table. Okay. And I have to write a select statement. You can do select star from categories. This is your syntax. Okay. If I click on run, what happened? All 8 rows. Number of records is 8. And these are the 3 columns within the categories table. Okay. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So this kind of queries you will start seeing in your day-to-day activities, in daily tasks, what you handle. Okay. So like I said, all other commands are also there, but mostly you'll use select, star from, select from, and it will start getting a little more interesting as we keep going. This is a very basic SQL query. Fine.
Okay, ma'am.
Just try to remember the syntax. It's pretty simple. It will begin with select, star or columns, whatever you need. From is important to say that it comes from this table. Okay. Now instead of, we move to the next level. Instead of moving selecting only star or all columns or selected columns, I will say that I want to see all the information for category 1, for example. Then we will write a condition. When we are looking for something specific, we'll write a condition that select star from categories where this is the keyword. Okay, I'll write this in caps just so that you'll know these are keywords. Select from, these are all keywords, SQL keywords, which will help us to write the where condition. Whenever I write a where clause, it means that we are telling SQL to apply the condition over the SQL table. With conditions, what we will do is we will restrict whatever data is coming in. Instead of seeing 8 records, you will see how much condition you're giving, only those records. Suppose I say where category ID equal to 1. What is category 1 here? This row. And what does category 1 have? This information, beverages, and this is the description. Now see how this will work. What happened now? 8 rows disappeared. 8 rows disappeared, and only the category ID that I gave, that information only came up. Did you understand this part? Instead of category ID 1, if I give 2, then see how this will change. What happened? Category ID 2, category name, and description. Correct? Have you all seen this in your what we say, engineering? If you have done engineering, it might have been there, right? SQL might have been there. DBMS, RDBMS, was it there?
SQL DBMS is
Huh?
for the DBMS subject is there. I mean,
Okay. So in that case, you'll be aware of these queries. You might not have executed it, but you might have seen in theory, right?
yes.
Okay, so this is how it works. Any difficulty in this? Any difficulty in understanding this?
No, ma'am.
Clear? Now what did I do?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
first wrote a very basic SQL statement, select statement. Then I added a condition on it. And then instead of one condition, now I add 2 conditions, for example. I think this will become too much if I give you on the same day. Let's just stick to this. Tomorrow I'll make it more what we say, complex, so that it is easier for you. Now we finished the second table. Now what I'll do, we'll go to the employees table. We'll write SQL for that. Select. I'll first write select star from employees. Let's see what this will give. It has 10 rows here. So 10 rows should come up. Yes, 10 rows came up. And these are all the 10 rows. Okay. What did we do next? We wrote condition where employee ID is equal to 2, for example. 2. What is employee number 2? It is this person. Run the SQL. So what happened? 1 row came up. Okay. So this is how it works. You need to practice this today with all of these tables. Write some more conditions. Like I wrote for employee ID 2, right? You can write for any other employee ID. When you're practicing, what you can do, you can click this table. When you click on this, what happens? It will give you all the information. Okay. All this data. Then you open another tab next to that. Open it. You can just duplicate this. Just open a new tab. Then this tab you can keep as a reference to the columns and rows that you're looking at. Here you can write your queries and keep checking if your query is correctly working or not. Okay, did that help?
Yes, ma'am.
Because it's difficult to look up the structure of the table, what columns it has, what data it has. So one tab you can leave like this with all the data. On the next tab you can practice. So when I do this, I give here city equal to Berlin means I want all the customers from the city Berlin. Okay, city equal to this. Let's see if this will work. It will not work because this is a city is a string value. So we have to put that in double quotes. Now it gave us the result. So there's only one person in this city. Let's try another city. We are in customers table, right? Customers. Mexico. There's Mexico has some people. We can try this. Let's see how many people are there in Mexico. Run. Now see, it gave us the result. There are 5 records. 5 records are returned. There are 5 people in Mexico, 5 customers from Mexico. That's what it returned. Now it can be any other city or any other country or whatever other condition you have. If you give, for example, country, I need to see all the customers from the country Mexico. Mexico is the value that I'm taking from here. Just copy paste it. For string values or alphanumeric values, you have to use double quotes. For numbers, for like customer ID, there's no other numeric field in this. For that, you don't have to use double quotes like this. Now, how many customers are there from Mexico for us? 5 customers, right? So you can also validate here. Like, for example, I can take Germany. How many customers are there from Germany? Let's see that. If extra space is also there, sometimes it will not give us the records. Now, how many it gave you? 11 records. So these are all the people from Germany, all the customers from Germany. Okay. Any questions, Shravanti? And let me come back. No? Bindu, are you following?
Yes, ma'am.
So are you both now confident to write a simple select statement using the tables we have?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So with this will be your basic structure always, basic syntax to be specific. To this we can keep adding a lot more things like instead of star, like I said, I can use only columns that I want to look at. Okay, we don't have to take all the columns. Column should be separated by a comma. Column 1, comma, column 2, comma, city, for example. City. Now what happens, instead of all the rows, all the columns, you'll see just the 3 columns that you selected. So this is what now? These are 3 customers. These are 3 columns for all customers in Germany. We had 11 records in Germany, 11 customers in Germany. So same 11, but with 3 different columns. Fine. So what did we see? We did a select star. Means we got all rows and all columns from the table. Then we wrote select column names from the table. Means instead of seeing all columns, you'll see only selected columns. After that, you restricted the rows. When I say rows, by using a condition, where condition, we reduce the number of rows on the table. Right? So 3 steps we saw today. Is this fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me send you this link. Paste it on chat. Uh, okay. You need to use this link for your practice. Work on all these tables today. Write these queries. Select with column names. Select with conditions. Okay. If you are okay, I can share some queries. Not exactly queries, like these scenarios, like select all the orders with product ID 11 or with product ID 51. Then for 51, whatever rows are there, those all data it should get. But you practice today, you come up with whatever queries you have written, and we can check them tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
all, how many tables? Like I said, there are 8 tables. So practice all these 8 tables. These steps you have to do. Select star, select columns, and with the where condition. So why we are doing this is how you will see queries when you move on to Power BI also, but not this simple. It will start getting a little more complex, I should say, not very complex though. It all depends on requirements. Slowly, I'll anyway show you how those queries will look like. Hmm? I'm just
Yeah,
keeping
ma'am.
it a little minimal today because it's the first day of SQL. If I give you a lot on the first day, it'll get a little challenging to understand. That fine? Did you take the link from chat? Did you copy paste it into your machines?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. I will also give you this link so that you just go through this today. Keep it for your reference. And we will have to cover some more concepts tomorrow, like the data definition and control language also. I only showed you data manipulation language today, not completely. So we will go through everything, but what is more important for the course that we will practice because this is what you will use next. Okay. So are we okay to wind up for today? I need you to practice whatever I told, and tomorrow I'll take a little extra if possible.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Sure. Let me know if there is anything else. Otherwise, we can wind up. Yes, are we okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Shravanti is on mute, I think. Anyways. All right, then. We'll connect tomorrow again, same time. Wednesday, I'll not be there. I don't know if they informed you, but I'm just letting you know Wednesday I won't be available. Okay. Okay, then. Fine, both of you. We will connect tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.